And joining me now, as promised, is former Congressman Beto O'Rourke, 2018 U.S. Senate nominee in Texas and founder of the Texas grassroots group Powered by People. What an exciting time. There's like a jolt of energy, I think, going through people just watching what's transpired today. But let me start by asking you this. I mean, Democrats, as you well know, you know better than anyone, you came very close in 2018. And since then, though, there have been some Republican gains. Republicans have gained among Latinos over the course of the last several years. They've made some headway in South Texas. We've seen encouraging things like almost nearly 200,000 more votes in the Democratic primary, and obviously some flips. But it would be seismic for Democrats to win this seat. It does feel like they have a better chance than ever. But why? Why are you jazzed and excited about this possibility this year, maybe more than you've been in the past?
Yeah, I've never been more excited. I mean, let's start with James Tallarico. This is one of, if not the most talented politicians I have ever seen. Those of us who have watched his career in the Texas House have known that he's incredibly talented, but for the rest of the nation, they got to see him in the closing months of this really competitive primary, fought against another generational talent in Jasmine Crockett, who made James an even better candidate. We couldn't ask for anyone better to be at the top of the ticket. You have Gina Hinojosa, who is our new nominee for governor against Greg Abbott here. She's phenomenal. And then Jen, for the first time since 1974, there is a Democrat running for every state house seat in Texas. There's 150 of them. Every state Senate seat, every congressional seat, 38 of them. You have Democrats running in 254 counties. All of them will bring net new Democratic voters to the fold in their own races, and they'll send them up to the top of the ticket for James. As you saw on January 31 of this year, there was a 31-point swing in what was supposed to be the largest reliably red county in America, Tarrant County, where Taylor Remitt defeated the Republican contender, outspent him 10-1, and won that seat by 14 points, the same one that Donald Trump won 17 points in 2024. And then, as you mentioned, 200,000 more votes cast in the Democratic primary, even though Republicans spent $90 million tearing each other apart in the Republican Senate primary. Those 200,000 votes mean a lot to me because I lost by about 200,000 votes to Ted Cruz in 2018. And then lastly, there are so many great Democrats and just great Texans out there hustling and doing the work. Powered by People, the group that I lead, is on Texas campuses every day, meeting voters where they are, registering them, staying in touch with them, and helping them to make the decision to vote in the most important election of our lifetimes. When James Tallarico wins in November, he will be the 51st vote in the U.S. Senate. Texas will save the country.
I think people will. It's such an exciting race to watch. Let me ask you about the Republican side, because they're in a runoff. It has already been brutal. I just played some of an ad and talked a little bit about how Texas reporters are analyzing this to date. Trump is going to endorse at some point soon. Does that matter? What do you see as the impact of this kind of brutal extended primary on the Republican side, on the possibility of Tallarico winning in November?
I think it shows you how strong Tallarico is and how strong Democrats in Texas are. I mean, Trump would not intervene in this way unless he was panicked. He understands that if Tallarico wins, if he is the 51st vote in the U.S. Senate, then there's going to be a check on Trump's criminality. There's going to be consequences for his corruption. There's going to be the possibility of free and fair elections in 2028. If we don't win, if Trump is able to hold on to power, if he's able to rig or steal this election before the first vote is cast, and Jen, he's going to try to do this in Texas, whether it's purging the voter rolls that Greg Abbott sent him, even though it's unconstitutional, or trying to stop mail-in voting, or something that we can't even dream up right now, then this slide into authoritarianism, I think, will be complete. Those are the stakes of this election. I think Trump understands that. The good news is Democrats in Texas understand it as well, and we're meeting this with full force. So, as I mentioned earlier, they've already spent $90 million, Cornyn and Paxton, tearing each other apart. Their runoff for this primary will not be decided until the 26th of May. So for 2 months, they're going to be going at each other, even if Trump intervenes. And all the while, James Tallarico Talarico, Gina Hinojosa, these great Democrats are going to be consolidating support, not just among Democrats, but as James said in his speech last night, amongst independents, amongst Republicans, and amongst people who've never voted in an election before, but now because they feel hope, they're going to act on that and they're going to cast a ballot.
A little dose of hope. I know that can do people well. Let me ask you about, I mean, you alluded to this, and I think everybody needs to be clear-eyed and eyes wide open about the shenanigans that the Republicans could be up to in Texas and all across the country. We saw some of that chaos in Dallas and Williamson counties. We talked about this a lot last night. What should people be preparing for? What do you hope Texas election officials are doing between now and November to ensure people's votes are counted, they're able to get into polling places, et cetera?
I think because Trump is so panicked, which, Jen, reveals his weakness. You know, he tries to project strength and inevitability and this power, but it is a false front. Otherwise, he wouldn't have asked Greg Abbott to redraw 5 congressional districts in Texas, which he did last summer. Here's the good news in answer to your question. In 4 of those 5 newly gerrymandered districts, more Democrats voted in the primary that concluded last night than Republicans. It means that this might be a dummy-mander instead of a gerrymander where Democrats ultimately end up prevailing in these newly drawn districts. So Trump is reading all this, right? He reads Talarico's, stunning win last night. He reads the losses in these 5 or 4 of these 5 gerrymandered districts. So besides trying to cancel mail-in voting, I think that Minneapolis was a preview of what you're going to see in Austin, in the Rio Grande Valley, in San Antonio, in my hometown of El Paso, sending federal forces, Border Patrol and ICE agents to intimidate voters at polling places, seizing ballot boxes. You know, he ruminated to the New York Times that he wished that he'd asked the Guard to seize voting machines in 2020. He is broadcasting to us right now in real time what he plans to do ahead of November 2026. So we have to do everything we can with what we have where we are. That means registering more voters. I mean, this has to be an overwhelming wave that cannot be disputed, that ensures that we know that Democrats win, that there's a check on Trump's power, and there's an end to this tyranny and slide to authoritarianism in America.
Beto O'Rourke, thank you as always.